Good evening, everybody. Jasper Armstrong here, coming to you with an opportunity to review my e-portfolio with me. And what a blast it has been. Going straight into it with the goals. When you look at my goals video, what you're going to find is that I am a goal-oriented person who for me, it breaks down God, family, career. And those are the priorities of my life, and those are the way that I set my goals as well. I'm looking forward to becoming a building leader. I'm looking forward to being a major influence in the lives of my children and my family at large. I'm looking forward to being in a position to create impact in my community. And those are kind of, the way that I set my goals. And those are the things that I'm always seeking to be in alignment with. When I get into my leadership philosophy, there's one piece here that I want to highlight. And I think it goes to my principles, right? And there again, seeking to be in alignment with my goals and just with who I am as a person. My principles state, I will lead with integrity, with love, compassion, and vision. I always assume a growth mindset and approach every situation with a listening ear. I expect to have courage in tough situations. I expect to respond rather than react. And that's huge for me. I think everybody has situations and circumstances that arise, and I feel it is our duty to respond, right? Our response is the one thing that we have control over, how we respond to what life throws at us. I will lean into the protocol to understand change, and I will be the primary force for building a positive culture and climate in my space. And, that's pretty exciting. That fires me up. Just thinking about that as far as, a philosophy of leadership is concerned. Moving on, again, the non-degree endorsement and the course that I had to take, man. This is the road. This is the playbook that got me here today. And I'm grateful for it. I learned a lot along the way. I've absolutely become a better person and by far a better educator because of the prescription that's laid out here in the program of study. A couple highlights of my resume, right? Master's from Colorado Christian, my teaching experience there. As an interventionist, as a special education teacher, as an assistant principal in an online high school, doing interventions for a while in Cherry Creek schools, doing SPED, working in SPED, then my football coaching experience, or some of my coaching experiences, I list there and highlight there, spanning from high school to college to semi-pro coaching, running a AAU basketball program with my wife, which is another great joy that we have and experience together. And so those are a couple highlights there of my resume. Doing the annotated bibliography, man, this was a tough assignment, but I think the beauty of it for me came in the idea that getting an opportunity to go back in and really review the literature and really review what this literature is saying, really honing in on my why. I want to be a building leader that is up to date, fast moving, and up on the times. And so you'll see some articles that I chose to review really speak to that. I think one of my favorites was by Principal Kafele, which asked the question, is your school better because you lead it? And this article really challenged me to, again, really hone in on my philosophy of leadership, really make sure that, I am being authentic, that I'm showing up authentic in my pursuit of this goal and why, really, living from that place of why. What am I doing here? Why do I show up every day? What do I see as success? And so this article really challenged me to make sure that I'm living in truth as far as that is concerned. Then we look at some of the activities at the district level. And I think this just speaks to, a lot of the work that I have done to prepare myself to become a building leader, and why I'm so excited to be getting this going. But this particular activity, the Beyond Diversity training, is something that our district really holds dear, right? They set aside a lot of time and resources to make sure that every teacher, just this past year, the superintendent and his entire cabinet went through Beyond Diversity training. And as an affiliate of this protocol, I'm one of the people who is charged with really bringing some accountability and making sure that, people are really putting race at the forefront of our thinking, and really learning and leaning into what we call the protocol, which is how we have conversations about race in our district. It's very powerful stuff. And then I also do a lot of work as an interventionist. This was a new model we were putting into place this year that really spoke to the collaboration of the different high schools to really see how we can help students focus, how we can help them make that transition from 8th grade into high school. This was our attempt at creating a master schedule when I was an assistant principal at Goal Academy. This was a very interesting situation we had where at our Teacher of the Year banquet, the board president had a little snafu. And again, as an affiliate, we spent a lot of time dealing with this issue. Again, putting race right to the forefront and really making sure that we're calling people on their thought processes, right? And really making sure that we are creating an environment that's going to be beneficial for all students and all people in general. And then towards the end of the year, had an opportunity. HR approached me because of my work with this program to really see how, we can recruit and retain teachers of color. So we really wanted to focus in on an exit interview, like, why are you leaving our district? What was the climate like for you? And really get some insight into why these teachers are leaving. And so I was charged with helping put some of that together as well. And then lastly, in these days and times, right, I think everything is centered around and focused on school safety. And we had some issues like many other districts throughout the country around safety. And so, again, I was called on to come sit on a committee and really hear from the students as to what they thought the primary safety concerns were for their buildings. And this was very, very powerful, the information that we were able to unearth. Moving on to the elementary portion. Getting the pre-test done for the students who really pre-qualifying kids for ESY, which is extended school year. and sitting down and figuring out um, how we could provide them those services to continue their learning processes through the summer so that they don't regress over the summer. Then, it was imperative that once we got them in ESY that we had to track their progress, and if we had made a difference on the goals that they were working on throughout the school year. This was Friendship Camp, which was always a blast, man. When you get 30 special needs kids together, and we're, traveling in the community, we're riding buses, we're going out to eat, we're teaching kids skills to live in our community, to become productive citizens of our society, and just all the work that goes into that. Had a blast doing it. This is a collaboration we are doing with the Denver Broncos to get the kids out to Dove Valley, where the Broncos practice, to meet some of the players, and have an opportunity to see that. So that was us really trying to collaborate with the community. And finally, man, we had some high stakes. We had some high stakes in our population. We had some kids, some litigious parents, some parents who were lawyers, some parents who had or were already in dispute with the district. So it was very important that we were on our P's and Q's as far as that was concerned. And then moving on to the secondary piece, these are all the things that I feel really make me a very well-rounded educator. Being on our building's inclusive excellence team, which is where we really go in depth on, how we are moving the courageous conversations forward in our building. This, to me, was one of my favorite activities I've done in the program, was really to list the top skills that a principal should have. And, this challenges me to continue to grow and get better every day. Then this is a book study that I was privileged to be a part of. And Robin DiAngelo, who I think is a brilliant author and psychologist, sociologist, really puts forth some ideas about how we can start de-weaponizing race and really getting real about what that looks like when we do that in society. This was another opportunity I had through a class we were taking here, to sit down and go through and see what it looks like to observe a teacher. And this was very valuable experience because it was something that I felt was lacking in my repertoire, and something that I felt I walked away with a great understanding of or afterwards. Moving on for the sake of time. My reflection of the program, really speaks for itself. I walked into this thing unsure and not really knowing if, being a building leader was right for me. I, had some unctions and some ideas that I really wanted to start moving in this direction. However, through the coursework, I found that it's imperative, man, that there is time, that the time is now. And as a leader, I feel like I feel like I'm a leader. I feel like it's time for leaders to step to the forefront in education. I think it's time for me, myself, to move my career into the next challenge. And I really began to experience this through the coursework and through the conversations with my colleagues that are going through the program.